Good evening. It's my honor and privilege to welcome you to the weekly edition of the Nation Builders. Today we have a tall leader, professional, a person who led from the front. He's an engineer by profession. He did turn into a politician as he fought the elections in his state when they happened recently. But he's really credited with the onerous distinction of changing the face of public transport in India. He's credited with building metro in many cities and not just in Delhi. Of course, DMRC was the icing in the cake, given it was in the capital city. So I don't have to introduce this gentleman, but as is customary, let me welcome my guest today evening on the BW Businessworld Nation Builders show, Mr. E. Shreedharan. Welcome, Mr. E. Shreedharan. He's joining us from a place in Kerala, and with pandemic, locations don't matter. Good evening and congratulations, Mr. Shreedharan. India just won a gold in the Olympics.
Oh, excellent, excellent. It's a proud moment for all of us.
Thank you so much. On this happy note, let me formally introduce you. Mr. E. Shreedharan was born in 1932 on 12th June. He studied engineering and as I said, he's credited with changing the face of public transport, of mobility in India, with his leadership in building the Konkan Railway and then the Delhi Metro, while he served as the managing director of the Delhi Metro Rail Corporation between 1995 and 2012. Known as the Metro Man of India, he was awarded the Padma Shri by the Government of India in 2001, but Padma Vibhushan in 2008, and the Chevalier de Légion, the honor in 2005 by the French government, and he was named one of Asia's heroes by the Time magazine in 2003. Mr. E. Shreedharan was also appointed as the former Secretary General Ban Ki-moon to serve on the United Nations High-Level Advisory Group on Sustainable Transport, which was called the HLAG-ST for a period of 3 years in 2015. He's a member of the Mata Vaishno Devi Shrine Board, and he recently entered politics by fighting elections in Kerala. So let me welcome Mr. E. Shreedharan. Let me start by asking you, Mr. Shreedharan, how have been the last 17 months for you, both personally and professionally, given the fact that we are doing today's conversation in a post-pandemic environment. We are not yet through the pandemic, so we can't say we are post-pandemic, but after the corona pandemic hit us.
First of all, let me thank Dr. Annurag Batra for speaking such good words about me. Well, for the last 17 months, I've not been doing much professionally because my last connection with the professional field, I left on 15th of March last year, 2020, I left it. By resigning from the Delhi Metro's position as principal advisor. Thereafter, of course, I thought of entering into politics, which I did, not with much of success, but there were some very compelling reasons which forced me to enter politics. But even though my professional responsibilities are all over, I am still handling two important social projects responsibilities. One is I am the country president, or even the founder president of an organization called Foundation for Restoration of National Values, based in Delhi. The main aim of this organization is to bring back the old values of the nation to the young generation, to change their attitude, change their outlook. That is the main purpose of it, with which I am still very, very busy. The other organization is rejuvenation and restoration of Bharatapuzha River, which is the biggest river in Kerala, which is in a very, very sorrowful condition now. It has got to be rejuvenated. These two activities are there very much for me, which keeps me fairly busy. And the COVID lockdowns have restricted my movements. But thanks to the modern facilities available in communication, I am able to carry on with my work peacefully and without any much of a problem.
Shreedharan, for still staying active and trying to contribute to nation building by restoring national values. And you rightly said technology has helped us live in a 3C economy, a collaborative economy, a contactless economy, and a compassionate economy. But now let me ask you, COVID has changed a lot of things. What has COVID changed for good and what has COVID changed things for bad? What are things that are likely to stay and what are the things that are likely to come back to a pre-COVID way of living?
Certainly, I believe COVID is not going to leave a permanent scar on the economy of the nation or on the way of living of the nation. That is not going to make any change. This is a temporary phase. We have faced similar situation about 102 years back when the Spanish flu struck our country, and world over about 5 million people were contacted, and about, I think, more than 1 million people died. So similar strategies do come. This is a nature's way of probably balancing many things. And COVID now, the worst part of it is over, according to me, in India. We are now, except Kerala state. Kerala state is still in a vigorous state. All other places, it is coming down, and we will get over it very shortly. It will not leave a permanent scar or permanent blow to the nation at all.
Absolutely. On that optimistic note, while there's been loss of lives, loss of livelihood, we always have to be optimistic and see the positives that come out of it. And hopefully it will go away. And we learn some things like health is very important. Immunity is the value of human life and the value of time, I would say. But now let me ask you, Mr. E. Shreedharan, for the last 6+ decades, you've been active in public life. You've been contributing to the country. How have you contributed to the country over such a long span of time and consistently? And every day, now and then, taken the benchmark of contribution to a new high?
Well, it was indeed not my own choice, I would say, because I retired from the Indian Railways after 36 years of service in 1990. At that time, I thought that is the end of my professional life. But the then Railway Minister, Mr. George Fernandez, gave me the responsibility of Konkan Railway. And that kept me going for more than 7 years, about 7 years' time. And that's a very, very, very challenging job. The biggest challenge there was finding funds for the project, because the government of India railways gave only 1/3 of the cost of the project. 2/3 of the cost of the project we had to mobilize from public. Then when Konkan Railway was about to be commissioned, the government selected me to head the Delhi Metro. None of these were my choice. For none of these I applied also for a post. The government by themselves picked me up for these jobs and put me in charge of the Delhi Metro. Delhi Metro, my assignment was for 3 years to start with. But the government went on extending it, and ultimately 14 years I served in Delhi Metro. And I felt that I should call it a day and requested the then Chief Minister, Sheila Dixit, to allow me to retire. She won't agree, really speaking. She said, nothing doing, you have to continue. By that time, phase 1 and phase 2 of Delhi Metro was over. And phase 3 was started. She said, kindly complete phase 3 also. Then at that time, I was already 78 age. I requested her that I would like to retire and spend my time peacefully in my village. Ultimately, she agreed. But I was not rushed. When I came back to Kerala, the Kerala Chief Minister, Mr. Umman Chandi, called me and gave me the responsibility of Kochi Metro. So I went on with Kochi Metro and many other projects in Kerala, many flyovers, road over bridges, many projects they handed over to DMRC. And DMRC, as the principal advisor of DMRC, I was in charge of all these things. The last responsibility, professional responsibility in Kerala, I completed on 6th March this year. That was restoring a flyover, Palarivattam Bridge, it is called, which after construction within 2.5 years, it had to be condemned and demolished, and a new bridge had to be built. That responsibility was given to me, which I accomplished in exactly 5 months and 10 days. Then only I decided, yes, I will enter into politics for simple reason. Having spent so much of time on professional works, I felt my vast experience and my talents should be available to Kerala in some form or other. That was one reason. The other reason was the way Kerala was being ruled. I was feeling very, very miserable because of the last 65 years when the Kerala state was formed. There has been hardly any progress in the state. And I thought probably by entering politics, I would be able to contribute something for the benefit of the state. But it did not take place. I consider it, looking back, as a blessing in disguise, because now I find more time available for me to pursue my own interests.
Fantastic. So you wanted to make a change in Kerala, you wanted to contribute to that change, and you wanted to bring your vast experience of delivering a certain governance, because when you deliver a metro, it is about delivering a project, and projects happen when the right governance structure is there. That's the key to a project being delivered. Now, let me ask you, over these 6 decades, you've done so much. Like you talked about how you completed the Konkan Railway project ahead of time, and in spite of all the challenges. What is a playbook to your success? What is a playbook to the right project management of such large infrastructure projects? What do you attribute the completion of these large projects, pioneering projects, in the way you did them?
Well, both these projects I started from, it's a greenfield project, started from the very beginning. Yeah, very beginning. Konkan Railway as well as Delhi Metro. And I was able to bring in a very unique work culture in these two organizations. And I think I was able to complete this project on time within the sanctioned cost, mainly because of the unique work culture. In fact, it is this work culture is what I want to place before you, which is so important and which can be copied by any organization required. While Konkan Railway was a normal, routine central government undertaking, Delhi Metro was entirely different. Delhi Metro, if you see its corporate structure, it is not like any central public sector undertaking, because the shareholding of Konkan Railway is 50% by Delhi government, 50% by the government of India, which means it is not a public sector undertaking either under the center or a public sector undertaking under Delhi. This had given a lot of advantage to the organization in taking decisions, going ahead with the project, and but it remained as a government company because the two shareholders are the government organization. And because it's a government company, we have to necessarily follow the governmental rules, government procedures, and governmental guidelines in all matters. More than that, Delhi Metro was also under the purview of the normal watchdogs of the government of India, such as the Central Vigilance Commission, Controller and Auditor General of India, the State Assembly committees, parliament committees. We were accountable to all of them. All that was possible because we had little wider powers, and the whole powers vested with the board of directors. That was and we were not under any particular administrative ministry who could dictate terms to us. This helped very much. And because of this, I could bring in a work culture, and the cardinal pillars of this is most important. The cardinal pillars of this work culture are just four, according to me. One is emphasis on punctuality. Punctuality means not merely attending office and all that, completing works punctually. We give a time, a date for completion, we should achieve it. For which we took a lot of steps to achieve it. You must have heard about the reverse clocks in Delhi Metro and Konkan Railway, which used to indicate to everyone what is the remaining days left for completing this, which used to drive the engineers, the contractors, the suppliers. So that is one big thing, punctuality. The other was integrity. Integrity not only individually, for the whole organization. I think that was our biggest asset. People trusted us, government trusted us. And though you kindly remember, at that time I was a retired person. The government had no control on me at all in any matter. But till the government entrusted me thousands of crores of rupees for this project, all because of my reputation for integrity. And this integrity not merely at my level. I ensure that it is around the whole organization, down the whole organization, every individual had to uphold this virtue, integrity. Third thing is professional competence. You should know your job well. And if you don't know, you should learn it first. Or engage people who know the job well. There we were very, very successful. For example, Konkan Railway was the normal railway type of a project, but still we incorporated very many advanced techniques in Konkan Railway construction. Many people don't know that because we are not able to make use of those improvements. Nobody in the country knows today that Konkan Railway has a speed potential of 160 kilometers per hour. That trains can run, but we don't have the trains which can run at that speed today. But even when we get trains, we can achieve that speed. Like that, very many technical improvisations that had been done in Konkan Railway. And Delhi Metro, that was the first time we are building a world-class metro in the country. We had no experience earlier. We have no precedence earlier, but we were able to do it. And we are not able to do it. We were able to do plan, execute a world-class metro before time. You might have probably heard that the phase 1 of Delhi Metro, when it was handed over to me, the mandate given by the government was to complete it in 10 years' time. I was able to do it in 7 years and 3 months, which is 2 years and 9 months ahead of schedule. Same was the case with the phase 2 of Delhi project, where when the phase 1 was only 64 kilometers, phase 2 was about 125 kilometers. That was done also in 4.5 years' time. So all this was possible only because of the work culture in the organization. Everybody was so devoted, and I had fortunately the freedom to pick up the correct person for the correct post. I had that freedom and train them if necessary. And more than anything else, for the whole organization, set as an example. I used to be the role model for everyone in doing everything. I think that only helped me to complete this project successfully.
Fantastic. Let me sum up. One is discipline. which is coming in time, so on and so forth. Second, you talked about integrity. Third, you talked about professional competence, right?
Yes. There is one more thing.
Yes.
That is a passion to do something for the country.
Fantastic.
Yes. Everybody at all levels. They were not bothered about the salaries they get, the remuneration. The salaries they get were just government salaries because we could not have any other salary structure. But they were all so motivated and so committed to the task, and we were able to do everything in time.
Fantastic. Because that is the passion and that is the glue that bound you together towards a common mission. It was not just completing a railway project, but it was giving a solution to so many commuters.
Exactly.
It was saying that India is a modern country. If Malaysia can do it, so can we. So it was like a national mission. Clearly,
Correct.
Even when it got completed, the feeling was of a national achievement. Like today, we won a gold after so many years, and it feels good. I'm not a javelin game admirer, but it feels good. Kudos to Neeraj who's won it. I mean, we have won 11 medals, and there is a certain individual in America called Alison Felix. She's won 11 medals. But the fact is, the 11 medals that we we never won 11 medals earlier. We never won a silver or bronze in hockey in a long time. We haven't won so many silvers. Clearly, this will give rise to sports nurseries and many other seeding of icons because people who are watching them. Similarly, when people see somebody like you achieving a national goal, if I may say that, it inspires them to do the same. Now, let me build on what you said. Is there a playbook to being a nation builder, to being an institution builder, to creating institutions that last you, that outlast you, today DMRC works fantastically well. Your legacy is that even after you've given up formal charge, DMRC runs perfectly. So how do you create institutions that outlast leaders? How do you become a nation builder in a true sense?
You see, this I feel is more by personal example. The team imbibes these values, imbibes these ethics, and continue, which I was able to do by having very intimate contacts with my senior managers and middle level managers and lower levels. Inspire them to do things the way that we want. Cleanliness, punctuality, then absolute competent engineers in place in charge of things, and all for the sake of the country, not for themselves. People were toiling and working not for themselves alone, it's for the sake of the country. That spirit has to be instilled in the people, which I used to do in a very regular way. I don't mind confiding with you the way I used to achieve it. I used to have a system. Every Monday, 9 o'clock, I used to meet all the top managers of the company. There is no agenda fixed for this meeting. I used to spend about 1 hour, 1.5 hours. Most of the time was spent on instilling values in them, how they should work, how they should respond, how they should treat the contractors, how they should treat the subordinates, this sort of thing. And a similar meeting I used to have with middle-level managers every first Monday of the month. Similar thing, I used to spend a lot of time. And whatever, if they got any problems, if they got any reservations, they could raise it, and I used to solve it properly. That's one thing. The other thing, by example, meticulous inspection of works. Every Saturday, I used to be on the field inspecting works, either in the Konkan Railway or Delhi Metro. Everybody knew Saturday I'll be out to inspect works. And I used to tell them which work I've been doing, inspecting. But after the line was open and operation started, I used to inspect the system without any previous intimation. It used to be almost incognito. I used to go and land in a station, start inspect the station, mainly to ensure cleanliness, then the smartness of the staff, this sort of thing. And if I find anything wrong, I used to take it up. I never used to, you will be surprised to know, in my whole service, I have never issued a charge sheet to any employee or any officer. There was no need. I only used to mold them, bring them back. If they make a mistake, get it corrected. And don't allow them to make the same mistake again. And the other thing was, give them the courage to take decisions. Many of our projects suffer because people don't take decisions on time. They don't delegate powers. These are the things mostly needed in all our infrastructure projects. And the leader should be the role model for the rest of the team. That is very important. And the leader should be in position for a fairly long time for the project to get full
continuity.
Continuity. Then only the accountability will be there. See, I started with Konkan Railway. When I was selected for the Konkan Railway, government wanted me to appoint for 3 years only. But the public sector recruitment board, they said no. We should give him at least 5 years or till the project is completed. So I remained there for 7 years for completing the project. Delhi Metro also for 14 years. See, this continuity is very, very important. And people should be in charge of the project should know their job very well. If it's a highly technical job, it has got to be only a technocrat in charge, not a journalist. Now, this work culture, to tell you I'm happy to mention that not only in Delhi Metro, these work culture has spread to other metros also in India. All the metros are operating on the same basis now.
I like the fact you said two things. One is lead by example. Second is instilling the right value. And then you just said technocrats matter. You need domain expertise.
Yeah.
I think the key to managing projects rightly is domain expertise. Now, let me ask you, we are talking that 2020 to 2030 is the decade of India. This is the time India will leapfrog and hopefully find its right place in the pantheon of nations in terms of development. And that will happen through the infrastructure route. How do you think we can build in world-class infrastructure in India? What are the policy tweaks that are needed?
Today, fortunately, India has got sufficient number of very skilled and very passionate engineers and technocrats available to take up this project. The latest technology is available in the country. Most of the technology, we don't have to import very much more. The only problem we are facing today is finance. We may not have that level of finance necessary for completing all projects within about 10 years' time. But we can do quite a lot. I'm very, very hopeful that with the present the way our country is moving, we should be able to make a big breakthrough in regard to infrastructure projects as well. And Prime Minister's slogan of Make in India and self-reliance, these are the words that has got to be used to take the country forward.
Fantastic. Self-reliance, Atmanirbhar. We have that base, we can leapfrog. But as Dr. Shreedharan says, you need the right expertise, you need domain expertise, you need leading from the example, from the front. Your life is an example. What you do to your top leaders and how you motivate them, how you select them. He also talks about the continuity of leadership. There should be a continuity of leadership. Now, let me ask you a question. Mr. Shreedharan, you've got the accolades. You've been rewarded by the Indian government twice, by the French government. Across the world, you're celebrated. You are respected across the political aisle. Uh, uh, Now, you made an impact. You're a role model for a lot of people. You achieved a lot, much beyond what you possibly may have planned for yourself. Because as you rightly said, your life is about taking chances when it came when you hadn't planned for them. Is there a bucket list that Mr. E. Shreedharan has that he still wants to accomplish for himself and more importantly for the nation?
Well, I must point out to you that I have already completed 89 years and I am running 90 years age. So there is not much that I could achieve hereafter, and I don't want to also. Whatever responsibility I have got now, these two social projects, I want to carry on and contribute my best for these things. I have no further ambitions to do anything. But if I am required, my advice is required, my opinion is required on any subject, I am available. But I don't want to take up a full-time job hereafter. That is my decision. I will devote my time for in areas where I am very fond of, particularly spirituality. I want to spend more and more time in that direction. Not religion, but spirituality.
And, for our viewers and readers, define what is Mr. E. Shreedharan's definition of spirituality. Every human being has their own definition of spirituality. While there may be commonalities in those definitions, we'd love to hear from you. What is your definition of spirituality and how do you practice spirituality in your daily life, Mr. Shreedharan?
My own definition of spirituality is to make your mind pure, very pure. Not to have any more desires. You can meet your needs, but do not aspire for any desires. And be as much useful to others as possible. By either through resources or by manual, by help, any helping hand that you can give, that is possible. For information, I have set up a charity fund in memory of my mother. All contributions, all from me only. And that's quite a big, it has got a fairly big corpus fund. Out of that, a lot of charity work is being done here in Kerala area, particularly in Kerala area. So these are the things I feel spirituality commands to do. But the most important thing is have a very pure, clean and honest mind.
Fantastic. It's very tough, Mr. Shreedharan. I'm much younger to you. But you said have a pure mind. Do not have desires. Be honest. I think these seem like the obvious things to do, but they're not easy. And especially when you're in the midst of building institutions, businesses, you have desires. Desires in the sense you want to build big impact. You want to build, if you're an entrepreneur, you want to be wealthy, you want to have an evaluation. So clearly what you're saying is tough, but it is achievable. Now let me move into, this is a nation builder session. Mr. E. Shreedharan, as you rightly said, you are in the 90th year of your life and you've seen a lot, you've contributed a lot. For more than 6 decades, almost 7 decades, you've been actively contributing. Who are the people in your life over this large lifespan that you admired, that you looked up to? You mentioned your mother. Of course, mothers and fathers can be great role models, but beyond your mother and father.
In my professional life, I had good role models, I would say, particularly in the railways, who used to mentor me properly. And that gave me a lot of courage and a lot of self-confidence. One was Mr. G.P. Warrior. I don't know whether you heard about him. He was my executive engineer when I was an engineer. He was my deputy chief engineer, then as a general manager. And he was ultimately retired as member, chairman railway board. He was a great inspiration as far as I'm concerned, particularly in dedication, hard work, trying to help people with whom we are working. That was very, very much important for him. He was one in these things. And later on, main guidance and inspiration for me was from the supreme reality. When I do any work, I don't work with an intention of getting any remuneration, compensation, or any particular reward, award, this sort of thing. I never. But in Sanskrit, you say nirapeksham. That means without expecting any sort of applause or even reward, you do your work. And I have seen that if you use the yardstick of spirituality, whatever you do in that fashion, I have seen that the work ultimately succeeds very well. Because you are not expecting anything for yourself. It's only for the country and for the society. That is the most important thing that I have learned and which had helped me quite a lot. In all these things, of course, God's grace is required, guidance and grace, which I feel, looking back, I had that in plenty, I would say.
Fantastic. I think at the end of the day, divine intervention is needed, God's blessing is needed. I'm a Hindu, so I believe in a life that is preordained, prarabdha, but we don't know that, so we do the rightful karma that needs to be done. Now let me move into the fact that in some way your life is a message. What you've done, what you are sharing with us. If you had to give you already said a lot about discipline, about pure intent, about being pure, about leading from the front, about having no desires. But if you had to give your life's top 3 messages to people who are watching and are looking for inspiration from you, what would those be?
I think the 3 items where I would like people to really get involved and love. One is integrity. When I say integrity, it's not merely just honesty. If you take the Oxford Dictionary and see the meaning of integrity, it means having good moral values. Whatever you do, do it with good moral values. That is will be the first thing that everybody should adopt and practice. With that reputation that you have got good moral values, with that there are many advantages. Even if you make a mistake, people only will take it as a mistake. They will not think that it is a scandal or a corruption. That is one thing. The next important thing is health. Health is most important for anyone, particularly in an area where projects are involved, where you have to do hard work, you have to do a lot of stamina needed, for which you require good health. You must develop habits to build up good health right from young age. And the most important contribution to good health is good food, ample exercise. And exercise means not merely physical exercises, even yoga, this sort of thing is very important. And that keeps you mentally also very healthy and mentally very alive all the time. This is required. And the third thing I said is have in your mind, whatever you are doing, you are not doing for yourself. Whatever you do, it is a service to the Almighty. I don't know whether we are able to catch the spirit of it.
Absolutely.
You see, what you are doing is a service to the Almighty. Since we are not able to see the Almighty in person or physically, to me, Almighty means the society. It should always benefit the society, whatever you do. With these three things, I think you can definitely live a very rewarding life.
Fantastic. How beautifully put. What a session. While I expected philosophy from you, I'm getting life lessons, philosophy, spirituality, and really something which is very deep. Mr. E. Shreedharan, my last two questions to you. First, any times of crisis, and I would say the last 17, 18 months, because of Corona happiness crisis, requires elevating your leadership, elevating your sense of selflessness for a leader. How do you see leaders doing in these times of calamity, upheaval? It's truly a VUCA world, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. What is your comment on the leadership of these times? And I'm not talking of a country's president, prime minister. I'm talking in a larger sense. I'm not talking about an individual or a country, but in a larger sense, how do you see leaders doing their job of leading selfless?
Well, here only confidence and trust in a superpower is required. If you have that mental, that whatever you do, it is all being watched by someone, and there is always a force to protect you all the time. If you have that faith in you, that it will protect you more than the vaccines they are taking. I feel that self-confidence, confidence in yourself, that is required. There is a slogan in Bhagavad Gita which says, Uddharet Atmanatmanam, na Atmanam avsayet, Atmaiva Atmana Bintu, Atmaiva Rivaratmana, which means you must have the courage to get out this yourself. Nobody is going to instill this courage in you. You must develop that courage to stand up to this sort of tragedies. And if you are able to leave everything in the hands of an Almighty who will look after you, I don't think there's anything to worry about it.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So deep. So clearly you are saying why the leaders contribute, it's a higher purpose and a higher power. It's the universe, it's the Almighty, it's God that is really helping us. And that belief and that faith that if you do the right thing for the right reason, in the right manner, God will help you, God will save you. I think that's a beautiful place to be. It takes a lot of faith and belief to get there, but it is a beautiful feeling. Thank you so much. And my last question. See, you've seen public life, you built large projects, you lived a life which has been full of contributing. If you had to make three predictions about the future of work, about the future of business, about the future of economy, what would those be?
Well, the future of the country or the future of economy of the country, I don't think I am competent to comment on that very much, but I have a lot of confidence in our country. Our country is very great. We have got great traditions. Our people are also really good. Only thing is, if we want to make things better, the only way is the instill good values, ethics, and principles in the citizens, which today I am very unhappy to point out this is not happening today. In my young days, as a part of education, we used to have moral lessons, moral classes. These are
Same
not,
here. Same here.
these are not available today. These are not being taught. All emphasis is on material subjects. But what is the use of having material knowledge if you don't have a good disposition yourself? What is the use of being a brilliant engineer if you are not a good human being? These are got to be imbibed in the people. Fortunately, I find the new education policy, which the government has now brought out, a lot of emphasis has been given to instill good values at every stage, not merely young children, not merely in the higher class, the secondary level classes, even in the professional level, engineering college, medical level, these values have got to be instilled. If we are able to do it, we find the country will be entirely different. These good values, ethics, principles should be instilled in the young generation. People then will definitely, they will not be so
materialistic.
Yes, materialistic and self-interested, only in their own. They are interested only in their own thing. They don't think of the society, the neighbor, the whole country. And corruption. If you see, our country no doubt has moved as the 6th largest economy in the world, and will definitely become the 4th economy very shortly, another 5 or 10 years' time. But if you see the human values, we are still 82 or 84 in the corruption index scale. That means so much of corruption in the country. If you take up human happiness index, we are still very much behind. In corruption index, we are behind even Pakistan and Bangladesh. And this can be got over only if you instill good values. This is what I'm trying to do to my organization, FRNV. Instill good values. And wherever I go to many engineering colleges, medical colleges, for the passing out occasion. I speak not on the subjects, speak only on the values that they should carry from an institution to be of service to society all the time.
Beautiful. You know, this is the 5th edition, and I've talked to stalwarts. Last week I spoke with Shreedharan. The week before I spoke with Dr. Mashelkar. But I enjoyed those conversations. But I've thoroughly enjoyed talking to you, and it has given me food for thought. I'm sure it has given our readers and viewers food for thought. Coming from somebody of your tall achievements and your track record of integrity and achievement and contribution, I'm sure it will carry a lot of gravitas for people to be able to assimilate what you said and implement what you said. Mr. Shreedharan, we're grateful to you for your time and talking to BW Businessworld in the Nation Building series. I'm sure you'll continue to inspire many people, and we're happy that we've had leaders like you, and you said that's what makes our country great. Our culture, our values, our focus on the Gurukul system. You talked about the new education policy. It is comprehensive, and right at the start of one's life and career, those values are inculcated. So today's session has been a masterclass in humility, in intent, in purity, and in giving back to society. So we're grateful to you for who you are, what you do. We wish you luck in your endeavor to bringing back the values that this nation stands for. And if there's anything we can do to be a catalyst in your mission, we'll be very happy to be of any value. Thank you so much, Mr. Shreedharan. We wish you great health, and thank you so much. Our sincerest gratitude. Thank you. Good evening. God bless.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Annurag Batra, for giving me this opportunity to have interaction with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
I really enjoyed this session. Thank you very much.